we have the proverb which is shared by many national ethnicities in this country, that when a baby is backed by the mother or any caring relative and the head is bent, the elders cannot just watch and say nothing. They have to speak in order to correct the anomaly. So we're happy that we can count on you to be part of those who will disseminate the truth for the benefit of those who would rather stay on the side of truth, because there lies the blessings of God. You might recall that early in the week, I think it was on Monday precisely, there was some upheaval here in the city of Warri, and we think that we must set these facts before you all to disseminate for us so that we can understand how to deal with the problem. This is our homeland. We do not want it disrupted. We do not want it disorganized. We want peace here, so that everyone who dwells here with us can also enjoy the peace and the prosperity that is inherent in it. So I will now read to you what we are presenting to the whole world through you. This has to do with the attempt by the Ama-Okosu of Ogbe-Ijoh in Warri South West local government area to extend his territorial sovereignty to Warri South local government area and the antecedent loss of lives, property, and threat to peace and security in Warri South local government area of Delta State. On the 18th day of September 2025, at about 12 midnight, eyewitnesses testify that they had multiple gunshots. In apprehension, they came out of their houses in Kpesu community area of Warri South local government area of Delta State, an Aboriginal Ishekiri community. They saw 4 trucks with armed military personnel suspected to be attached to the Tantita Security Company, a company owned by an ex-Ijoh militant. The armed men were identified by the shirts and polo and caps which they wore. The long and short of it is that they shot multiple times at Dele Ogunbayo, one of the heads of the vigilante in the area, and ensured that he was dead and took his remains to the morgue. The deceased joined the list of persons of Ishekiri ethnic extraction murdered in the incident. We have lodged a petition with the police for investigation of this incident, which the military immediately denied, but later we have seen a recent publication by the military claiming responsibility. The background to this: as we all know, the geography of Warri Federal Constituency, as it relates to the boundaries and landmass of each of the 3 distinct local government areas of Warri South, Warri Southwest, and Warri North, is a matter of verifiable facts and figures, and therefore ought not to be subject of debate. We know where they are. We know where each one stops and which one begins. At the risk of stating the obvious, Warri South is headquartered in Warri Urban. Warri Southwest is legally headquartered in Ogidigbe, and the Shekiri community, while the Warri North is headquarters in Koko. In Latin, we say, res ipsa loquitur, which is a Latin phrase that means the thing speaks for itself. When a worker says, in quote, I work in Ogbe-Ijoh, we all know where the worker is referring to. If logic were a general human endowment, we should not have had the situation leading to the persistence of the Ama-Okosu of Ogbe-Ijoh in Warri Southwest local government area, extending his territorial sovereignty to Warri South local government area, with the antecedent loss of lives, property, and threat to peace and security in Warri South local government area of Delta State. We certainly would not have needed this press conference. About the territorial integrity that we are questioning here. Very clearly, the attempt by the people of Ogbe-Ijoh to make incursion into Warri dates back to 1964. The Ijaws all over Nigeria have, however, recently attempted to assist the Ijaws of Ogbe-Ijoh on a mission to hurriedly establish an Ogbe-Ijoh kingdom in Warri South local government area of Delta State. Part of which scheme, as we all shall see presently, is the illegal occupation of private property along the Nigerian Ports Authority axis of Warri and the sudden mounting of signposts in the name of the Ogbe-Ijoh kingdom. Unfortunately, calls on the state government long ago to discourage this did not seem to have an effect, because they have continued to act as if at the behest of some of their people who happen to be in government. We call on His Excellency, the Governor of Delta State, to please urgently do the needful, which is to cause a proper investigation of this development with a view to calling these functionaries to order, as they cannot be seen serving in the same government they are seeking to destabilize. Marcus Tertullius Cicero once cautioned, and I quote, "A nation can survive its fools and even the ambitious, but it cannot survive treason from within. An enemy at the gates is less formidable, for he is known and carries his banner openly. But the traitor moves among those within the gates freely, his sly whispers rustling through all the alleys, heard in the very halls of government itself." We appreciate that this is a festering situation which the present governor unfortunately inherited rather than created by him. We pray he will have the wisdom and all that he needs to do the entire thing that he can, not only to douse the tension, but to finally resolve this matter amicably. What is more likely to cause unrest and breach to peace in any society is the disregard for the rule of law. And in the ongoing gymnastics between brain and fist, it is only logical to conclude that the fist approach, which has become the characteristic of some of the characters, constitute more of a threat to the peace and tranquility of the area than the respect of the rule of law. Now let me speak about the relevant intelligence reports that would have averted this loss of lives and property. Security reports reveal that there have been sponsored attempts by this set of people to unsuccessfully provoke violence in the area and disrupt commercial activities and movement of law-abiding Deltans. The supporters of the Ama-Okosu of Ogbe-Ijoh, including one who is called Boro, a serving public servant in the waterway security section of the Delta state government, have been threatening to kill more people if the domain of the Ama-Okosu of Ogbe-Ijoh is not extended beyond what the law courts have decided. Attached herewith, as you will see, are the areas marked as annexures AR and AR1. There are copies, and of course the copies are the social media broadcasts by such people, the threats that they have been putting out. Now we will see whether it is true that Ogbe-Ijoh people have always had electoral wards in the Warri urban area, because this has featured in all that we have been saying about the INEC redelineation exercise that is still on hand. We had previously indicated and wish to hereby reiterate the fact that it is not in the character of the Shekiri people to act outside the ambit of the law, and we take no pride in making submissions that are bereft of empirical or verifiable flavors and substance. The claim that Ogbe-Ijoh people had electoral wards in Warri urban area without any reference to law and or empirical evidence is one area that is of concern, because many young people of that ethnic extraction are reading and being fed by these false publications. It must therefore be said that the intention of INEC is to make Delta State ungovernable with the assistance of their paymasters. Having long ago left this state of nature where might was right and surrendered our rights to the government in exchange for the protection of our lives and property, the Shekiri people have consistently urged government at the local, state, and national levels to continue to act in accordance with the laws, not minding whose ox is God. It must be placed on record, however, that Ijohs never at any time had wards in Warri Urban, which is Warri South local government area, and their wards were only in existence in the larger picture of Warri before it was split into Warri South, Warri Southwest, and Warri North local government areas. The effect of which was that the Ijoh wards naturally went to other areas different from Warri Urban, which is Warri Southwest and Warri North, and there is nothing more of this. It is sad that people who are in illegal occupation of private property can call for the creation of wards on the basis of such occupation. Too many Deltans are familiar with the area designated as GRA in Warri. This is an area a government acquired for residential purposes. We think it is about time that the Delta State government set up a panel of inquiry to look into the illegal occupation of private property in Warri GRA, and the truth will emerge that majority of the people in issue are in illegal occupation of the respective private property therein. These are migratory traders from neighboring states and local government areas, and not permanent residents. What must therefore be asked is the action of INEC designed to legalize the illegal occupation of those properties? This is critical because the call is loudest in the areas that are being illegally and forcefully occupied by the occupants. Historically and legally, this issue has been fully resolved in favor of the Shekiris, as will be presently demonstrated. The new community conjured up by the Ijohs in the illegally occupied property belonging to the Shekiri around the NPA area, which they are seeking to name Boluama, or smooth community, is a complete aberration. In fact, there is no empirical or historical evidence to support the existence of a territorial community known as Boluama or smooth in the GRA ward area of Warri South local government area of Delta State in Nigeria. It is worth noting that both claimants are of Ijoh ethnic origin, and as we will demonstrate, such claims have been legally settled. In addition to empirical evidence, the law has settled this matter on multiple occasions, including the decision of the High Court of Justice in suit number W/277/2012, that is 2012, which is Chief E.F. Esisi and 10 others versus the governor of Delta State and 5 others, where the court extensively referred to the decision of R.O.W. Roseweaver, Justice R.O.W. Roseweaver, in suit number W/148/56 before the Warri High Court. This suit involved Izuokumo, Oloike, and 5 others representing the Ogbe-Ijoh people versus the Shekiri Communal Land Trustees and Chief Sam Warri Esi, representing Agbasa and Igbudu people, regarding the declaration of land title in Warri, including the areas now being claimed by the people of Ogbe-Ijoh of Warri. The relevant portion of ruling is as follows. Quote, on the 9th of July 1964, this court delivered its ruling refusing the plaintiff's application to discontinue after the trial date had been fixed to the knowledge of the parties. The plaintiffs are hereby precluded from bringing any further actions against or any other of the first and second defendants in respect of the claims of which specific particulars were given in the writ of summons. Remember, this has to do in the area we are talking about now. And the court has said, on no account should they ever bring up any case to claim any part of this area. The subsequent action initiated by the Ijoh people on the same subject matter was struck out, and in line with this precedent, the court has once again struck out the action. Furthermore, with the support of prominent Ijoh leaders, the Ama-Okosu of Ogbe-Ijoh had planned to establish an Ijoh kingdom called Ogbe-Ijoh Kingdom of Warri South. They initially filed a lawsuit against the local government council and state, that is the Delta State, but the Shekiri people raised an objection, resulting in the dismissal of the suit prior to 2020. Following these developments, the Ijoh filed case an appeal W147/2020 between W147/2020 His Royal Majesty Ama-Okosu Mobene versus the Executive Director Delta State and 5 others, Executive Governor Delta State and 5 others, in which the Ama-Okosu of Ogbe-Ijoh claimed entitlement of royalties in Warri South local government area. After 4 years of intense legal battle, the suit was struck out for being incompetent and lacking in merit. The suit was secretly filed in Asaba instead of Warri, and they pursued it covertly, almost securing a judgment until the Shekiris discovered and joined the case. The matter was then transferred back to Warri in 2022. Judgment was eventually delivered on March 26, 2024, in favor of the Shekiris. The judges have now appealed to the Court of Appeal, and we are prepared to meet them there, provided they have the courage to notify, as we demand openly, unlike in the usual practice of clandestinely obtaining judgments without proper disclosure. On why the conduct of the Ama-Okosu of Ogbe-Ijoh amounts to an offense in law, because this appeal subsists where they have not any judgment as yet. A. His Majesty is the appellant in the appeal coming up on the 30th day of September 2025. He, having lost and been dissatisfied with the judgment of the trial court, as claimant thereat. B. His Majesty, that is the Ama-Okosu, very well knows Ogbe-Ijoh and the stool of His Majesty is in Warri Southwest local government area of Delta State of Nigeria, distinct from Warri South local government area to which His Majesty has been attempting to extend his reign. C. That it was the objective of His Majesty, that is the Ama-Okosu, to act in the manner described in the paragraph above that led to His Majesty's institution of the suit number W147/2020 between His Royal Majesty Mombena III, Ama-Okosu of Ogbe-Ijoh, versus the Executive Governor of Delta State and 5 others, wherein His Majesty sought the following reliefs. A declaration that by Delta State Government Gazette number 3 of 21st January 1999, the Ama-Okosu of Ogbe-Ijoh is one of the traditional rulers in Warri South local government area. This is what is asking. 2, or E, a declaration that by the combined provisions of the Delta State Gazette number 3 of 21st January 1999 and the laws of Delta State Ratification Law 2010, the Ama-Okosu of Ogbe-Ijoh is one of the traditional rulers in Warri South local government area. F. On Tuesday, the 26th of March 2024, the trial court dismissed His Majesty's claim, which said decision persists till date, and the legal effect, which is that His Majesty's domain does not extend outside of Warri South local government area into Warri, does not extend beyond Warri Southwest local government area into Warri South local government area of Delta State. This much we suspect his counsel to have briefed him and His Majesty and his subjects. It is the civil duty of a traditional ruler to respect the law, the judicial system, to promote peace, harmonious coexistence, and never to be an instigator or a conspirator in a scheme such as the recent threat to peace and security of lives and property by some of His Majesty's subjects, all of whom respect that they act, all of whom represent that they act for and on behalf of His Majesty in forcefully attempting to extend His Majesty's reign to Warri South local government area of Delta State of Nigeria by claiming part of His Majesty's kingdom extend there to the vast portion of land illegally being occupied by hoodlums and gangsters within the former John Holt property that are here in Warri GRA. The precise act of disturbance of public peace, which has already led to the loss of lives and property and continues to do so, is amounted to the coronation anniversary banners outside, the mounting of the coronation anniversary banners outside the domain of His Majesty, and therein describing the domain as Warri South, Warri South and Warri Southwest local government areas. You can see the banner proclaiming him to have his jurisdiction not only in Warri Southwest, but also in Warri South local government area. And that is the very subject matter of the judgment which His Majesty has now appealed against, and which appeal is yet pending. Attached herewith, as you can see, is the photograph of the said banner for the avoidance of any doubt. As a consequence of the above actions, which we respectfully consider to be insensitive of a person of His Majesty's status and a party to a pending appeal, an appellant for that matter, no fewer than 5 lives have been lost, and the commercial life in the area is negatively impacted. We therefore demand, our humble demands are, the above facts adumbrated, it is our humble demand, A, that His Majesty forthwith, that is the Ama-Okosu of Ogbe-Ijoh, for him to cause to be removed all the said banners and billboards mounted in Warri South local government area of Delta State of Nigeria, same being outside the reign of His Majesty by the judgment of the lower court that His Majesty has appealed against. B, that His Majesty forthwith restrains the indigenes and people of Ogbe-Ijoh community in Warri Southwest local government area, including other Ijohs who are within and outside of Warri environs, who are either tenants or illegal residents in the particular area of this crisis, from any further acts of hooliganism and harassment and threat to the Shekiri people. That His Majesty forthwith causes the cessation of all further threats to kill more people if His Majesty's domain is not extended beyond what the trial court has decided. That the state government should set up a panel of inquiry to investigate this matter and resign its immediate statement to the effect of politicizing the issue. That the Inspector General of Police should immediately conduct a thorough investigation of the incidents. That the Chief of Army Staff should investigate the attachment of the military men to Tantita Security Services Limited, because we are seeing that what they are doing is not just pipeline surveillance and protection. That the federal government should review its policy of entrusting security apparatus to private citizens who have ethnic cleansing agenda, such as Tantita Security Services Limited has been blatantly showing for us to see so very clearly. These are the things we want for you to please help us to disseminate so people know what the facts are, and those who should take proactive action as well as remedial action for there to be peace. We are in our homeland, and we want peace and security in our homeland for our people and for all who dwell among us. We thank you for your attention. So, having said this, of course you'll have copies of this, but if there are questions that any one of you may want to ask, please raise so we can address them. you please raise your hand and identify yourself and the media house that you represent, and then your question. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Taking us memory lane. That's the situation between Shekiri and but you mentioned one issue, sir. I'm very aware from the country that the military have the clear responsibility for killing somebody in Oyo-Ekoro. Actually, I saw the military
van. The publication?
Statement. Okay. They claim that the person killed happened to be a suspected cultist. Yeah. So we want you to react to this.
Okay. Let me quickly react to it. You see, in criminal investigation, the first 48 hours, the development of the first 48 hours is usually critical. Now, immediately this incident occurred, the position of the military was quite clear that they were not involved at all. That as a matter of fact, the bullet shelling was not that of the military. Okay? And this was less than 24 hours after the incident. And then that calmed us down because I want to mention that the vice president of the Ogbe-Ijoh youth had pointed fingers at the military, had accused the military, and we had to caution her that the military has said that they were not the ones involved. So we started looking elsewhere. So we did an investigation. Our preliminary investigation reveals, and we are still trying to protect the witnesses. Those who were eyewitnesses, who saw what happened. Investigation is ongoing. So the point is that the military cannot be seen to be approbating and reprobating. We want to choose to accept what they said within 48 hours. The latter statement we should mention now was said around 72 hours after. So the question I want to ask you, immediately the incident happened, the military said they were not involved. They pointed to the nature of firearms because standard criminal investigation, once an incident occurs, you condone the area, you try to recover bullets to determine where the origin of that bullet is. And they clearly denied. So if you have that on the one hand, and later you now have another position, it apparently means that there is an attempt to cover up and make up. Because at the first opportunity to make a presentation, they should have said what they later said. So I want to ask you, if you were the one that was told, God forbid, that somebody that you knew was killed, and immediately you got to the scene, you accused the military, and the military came there and said they were not the ones involved. 72 hours later, they now came to tell you that the person was a cultist. Sir, the question to you, who would you believe? I want you to react. Okay, my immediate reaction to that is that let us understand that our reaction to an emergency case is different from our reaction to a normal case. If you go to the hospital, there's the accident and emergency department. Then there is the general ward. Now, you see, what I have here is a threat. It's an Ijoh WhatsApp group. A threat that somebody will be killed in Pesu less than 6 hours before this young man was shot dead. This is not a time for you to say that we should start talking about social media. We are talking about lives. You see, I always tell people that before the civilization we have now, we are living in a state of nature, a state in which might was right. Life was short, brutish, and nasty. Those are not my words. They're the words of Thomas Hobbes. And he said that we were saturated. We didn't like that state. We decided to surrender our rights to a sovereign called the government in exchange for the protection of our lives and property and the provision of an enabling environment for us to thrive. Having done that, we cannot take the laws into our hand. The primary duty of government becomes the protection of lives and property. So, the murder of a person should have been considered by the government homicide. It's a serious matter. A government that does not live to meet its duty of protecting lives and property is not a government. Because indeed, the entire essence, if you look at the Constitution, the primary purpose of government is security of lives and property. A life is gone. It was St. Augustine that said that the death of my neighbor reminds me of mine. Is it because it's not your brother? Is it because it's not your sister? Or is it because not you? If you were the one and you are in the spiritual world, what would you hope would be done for you? The next person could be anybody. And so, the death of a human being should touch every other human being, irrespective of the tribe. First of all, we are all human beings before we belong to our different ethnic groups. At this moment, we are in the emergency ward. Somebody has been killed. What should the government do? Especially with all this, I expect the DSS. The sad thing in this country is that we know where the arms are. We know where the cells are. We close our eyes and keep our mouth shut, including the press, the fourth estate of the realm, that should come to the aid of the common people. I challenge you today that you should speak out. Speak out. That is your duty. We are not unmindful of the fact that so much has been done for you, that the chapel has been built for you, and things are being built for different people. The military is receiving largesse from some of these paymasters. But your duty, your clarion call, is to stand up. When you go home, let your conscience be able to tell you that you have done the proper thing so that you can sleep well. A man is dead, the father of people, the child of somebody.
We always have the responsibility, and we exercise it, to guide our youth, and we do so. And we do not have any record of our youth being on rampage, destroying anything or destroying people or even threatening people. So what are we to caution them for? Instead, they are being threatened. They are being harassed. We're not asking them to rise up in arms. That's why we are speaking now, to let the whole world know where something has gone wrong and they should be made corrected. We'll go on cautioning our young people, and I'm sure they will go on listening to us, because they do. They do listen to us.
May we take the next question, please?
Is there any other question?
No other question.
All right.
I said no further question.
So thank you very much. And we believe that the point must be made that we do not take delight in holding press conference per se. It's not for the sake of publicity, but it is because we know that there are many people who, if they know the truth, they will stand for the truth. Even in their comments, they will speak the truth. And you have your, as members of the fourth estate of the realm, you have your coverage where we cannot go. You have your duty, your job already cut out for you. And we believe you will help us spread the truth so that false narrative will not gain ground and make for people to think that that was the truth and in their comments, they'll be doing the wrong thing. That will not help anyone anyway. So we're all together in the task of nation building. So thank you that we can count on you. I think that's all.
That's all.
Okay.
Okay.